My name is Kabelo Mabalani. At the age of 19, I was a rock star. I had it all, including drugs and alcohol. But you don't have to be a rock star to get addicted. Drug and alcohol abuse is destroying countless lives and communities. Users are desperate for help. They want self-respect. They want to lead normal lives again. They want to kick it. Today we are in Westbury, a suburb that's riddled by drug abuse and drug addiction. But it's no different to any other place in our country. Everything is available. Whatever you want, whenever you want it. Alcohol, nyaupe, dik, crack cocaine. The list goes on and on and on. However, today we're going to be dealing with crystal meth and how it affects the user. Specifically, how it's completely messed up the life of one particular addict.
My name is Matthew. I was raised in Westbury, brought up in Yalus, but I'm back in Westbury. I'm living by my auntie, which is in it.
Matthew as a young man was fine until his mother passed on. He was a fun-loving person, could always joke, but when his mother passed on, I think he took it to heart. And that's when he started using drugs, going with the wrong friends, stealing cars.
Matthew, I found him to be a very bright boy, knew his work, always tried to study and to be in the top 5 or top 10. So he always tried his best.
Matthew was like he was full of energy. So he can't sit still and say 5 or 10 minutes. He must be up and down, socializing with people. That's the way he was. That's before he was smoking.
Matthew was a very fun person to hang out with. Like, he always used to play games with us and make us feel comfortable. But ever since he started using drugs, it wasn't that much fun playing with him anymore.
My uncle was the biggest drug lord in Westbury. Yeah, he used to sell Mandrex.
Your uncle now, is this your mother's brother?
My mother's brother, yeah.
Okay.
He used to sell Mandrex in cargo. He never used to sell it loose. Yeah, only cargo or jersey.
Cargo meaning big amounts? Okay. Transported to where?
Bloemfontein, Kimberley. Yeah.
Was he an influence in your life? Did you think because he sold you know it was cool to do?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I thought. But never got nowhere, bro.
Where's your uncle now?
He's now he's busy with the safe house because now he's the man of God now, no? Yeah, he's no more doing that.
Matthew's my sister's son.
How old was he when you were selling drugs?
Yeah, he was still small, he was about 10, 11. Yes.
And who were you selling drugs to? In the community?
Yes, in the community.
What were you selling?
That time it was Mandrex. It came in Westbury in 1982.
At the time, my brother was selling drugs. And
what kind of drugs was he selling?
Mandrex. He was selling Mandrex those years.
You look nervous.
No, he was selling drugs, and then later on he asked me circumstances, and I ended up selling it as well.
I mean, it's simple. It was impossible for Matthew not to get involved in a world of drugs. Not with where he lived. Not with the family that surrounded him. With the loss of his mother and his aunt and uncle, both dealing drugs and being terrible surrogate role models, I mean, what chance did Matthew have? What chance does any young person have? This is a generational cycle that needs to be broken. And unfortunately, this is a cross that Matthew has to bear. After the break, join us as we follow his journey from promising young man to becoming a drug addict and a criminal. Matthew was about to be introduced to a world of drugs, a world where there's often no turning back. Now, the person who introduced him to drugs has his own cross to bear because he was supposed to be Matthew's best friend.
It was me and other friends of mine. We introduced him to drugs.
You introduced him to drugs?
Yeah.
Okay. What drugs did you introduce him to?
At first, when we used cat,
Ah.
we snuffed it. For a time being, so, this thing doesn't like affect you anymore. It doesn't kick you. Like want to be like, say, 30 other Owens, hey, come with us, crystal mate.
The first day when I smoked, when he said to me, I must try it out. That's the first day when I felt how high I was because I never slept after that for 10 days by just taking one pull.
Well, I used to visit, and the Matthew I saw was in the youth, in church, involved with smaller children in the family, and everywhere we have gatherings, we were the small children. But then he started being withdrawn. And seeing I can pick up signs very quickly, I told my husband this one. So when his mother passed away, it just went downhill for him.
Me and my mother were like brother and sister. We used to do everything together. When she goes to shopping, I must go with her. You understand? When she has a problem, she used to come speak to me. You know? When she feels like crying, she used to come to me. Yeah. My mother was, that's a good parent, but she passed away.
You said your mother was what?
That was a good parent.
Okay.
She was my father and my mother. Yeah, I lost my mother in 2011. Yeah.
But how was she when you started taking drugs in 2005?
Hey, bro. I never used to stay with her house.
Is it? How did she feel?
Obviously, any mother will feel hearing a child smoke drugs, yeah.
When his mother passed away, he was living in the car because his brother and him apparently were giving the mother stress. So he slept in the car. They live in a flat. And then when she passed on, he started losing a lot of weight. Can't sit still. He's forever fidgety. He doesn't sleep at night. He doesn't eat. So then I told my husband, this one is on drugs already.
Oh, the first time I heard that Matthew was on drugs, I was very disappointed. Because when you're a teacher, you're a mother. And you take every child as your child. And when you hear these things, it makes you sad to think that something must have caused them to be in that situation. And you deal with kids all the time. You see this happening around you, and you don't expect every child to be in this.
Being high, it's a different vibe because you know what? You think you God, actually. You think you're the key, you're the man. Because being high, it's a really different vibe because you maybe, if you feel like hitting someone, you hit that person now. Even if it's your sister, your brother, you understand? You'll steal a phone out of a house, you'll steal your mother's own car. If you feel like smoking now, you will steal it now. So being high, it's something else.
He used to steal a lot of things out of the house, whether it was a TV, clothes, or anything of any sort. Even if we're watching TV, he'd come and take it, or our toys and things. He never used to get caught because he used to pretend it was a game, and we never used to find out things after that.
It was anything but a game, and it didn't take long for Matthew's drug abuse to lead him down a dark path that would eventually lead him to the worst of the worst criminal behavior. You've been to prison before?
No, yeah, I went to prison.
What for?
For murder. Yeah.
Tell me
2009, I had an accident with my friend. We had a fight.
You had an accident with your friend?
Yeah, it was an incident actually. Yeah, it was like, more for me, it was something stupid because you know what, both of us were influenced of alcohol and drugs. Yeah, so then what happened on the 16th of November, it was at a party, bash. Then we had a fight, me and him. He started stabbing me and I took his knife, unfortunately. For him, he didn't make it because I gave him one shot in the heart. Yeah.
Dead?
Dead. On the spot.
And then
I
what
straight
happened?
went from there to the police station. I handed myself in.
You took yourself in?
Yeah, I took myself in actually. And then I went to prison for 3 months on waiting trial. I came out of prison.
So you were quite lucky, huh?
Ish. But you know what, then I went again back.
You went back to jail
Yeah.
again? How did you get there?
Basically, we robbed the bread truck early in the morning, 5:30.
In prison, you either make friends or enemies. Matthew found a homeboy from Westbury who looked after him and protected him. Did you ever get into altercations inside where you had to protect each other?
Yeah, a lot of them.
Many times. Sometimes you find me we smuggling dagga. That's basically dagga and cigarettes is the smuggle in prison. See, and the only thing that keeps us going is money, crown. See, if there's no even a corpse, the wardens they take bribery in crown. Sometimes you want someone to take out of one cell to put into the cell, you have to take out money. You see.
But now how do you smuggle the drugs in here?
You have to up it.
Have you upped it before?
Yeah.
Both of you?
Yeah. Up works, then you have to take self-tight. Then you wrap. If it's money, you have to wrap it small. Then what you do, you take Vaseline. You put Vaseline on it, and then you put it up.
What did you bring in?
Protein, Mendrix, dagga, glass.
Pillow.
Put it in there?
Yeah.
You make it like a gila with self.
And how do you get it out?
You go to the toilet and you release
Put your hand there before. The first drop is your drop.
It's all survival, eh?
Yeah.
Listening to Matthew's story absolutely blows me away. But one thing is clear. Addiction dulls everything, except the need to survive. Just that need to get the next high. What seems like bad behavior to normal people is just business as usual to an addict.
I used to steal cars just to smoke drugs. Not to buy food or anything, clothes or anything. I used to smoke every day of my life. The cars that I used to steal was Corolla, mostly Corolla, Kentucky Rounder, Tez, you know? But sometimes I've got orders for Mazda 323, you see. And the cars that I steal, I sell them for less than 500, 600. Always when I used to smoke crystal meth, I never used to sleep. So in times of feeling lonely, I used to come to the graveyard. This is where I laid my head. It was my home. Basically, which I used to, how can I say, every time when I miss my mother, I go to the graveyard. Yeah, I sleep on any tombstone that I get. Yeah.
Sleeping on tombstones could have been an unconscious reminder to Matthew about where he would end up if he carried on using drugs. But the good news is that after the break, we get to see how Matthew started to change his life around. And just as important, how he wanted to help others kick the habit. More specifically, his brother, whom he introduced to crystal meth.
I was in a relationship with my child's mother, which we were together for 10 years. And then when I started smoking drugs, everything changed. She didn't want me to see my child no more because I'm not a father figure, you know. And then second, you know, I lost my mother. Yeah. I've lost everything that I loved because of doing drugs.
Now, Matthew has reached rock bottom and he's decided to stop using. But take it from me, it's never easy to give up an addiction. What's your general opinion of what's going on in Westbury?
Drugs are rife in this place, basically.
You know, paint a picture of what kind of individual you're dealing with every day.
All right, the kind of individuals I deal with every day ranges from the first-time user, a child, 13 years, experimenting with dagga, to people that are on Nyaobe, Turk, and Ket as well, even heroin. So these are, you find that people, some are homeless, some are still in their families, but they are totally addicted to the substance. Basically, they cannot live without it.
So you've been clean now?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I go to Sanka, which I go every Wednesday. I go fetch my tablets, and then I do checkups, you know.
What has been your experience with Matthew?
Basically, about in the last month, he's only come for a session, one session.
But you had a festival yesterday, eh?
No, it wasn't actually, no. I told my family it was a festival. It was actually my girlfriend's party.
Okay. But you were drinking there?
Yeah, I was. I do drink sometimes, on special occasions.
But isn't clean? Clean is clean from
No more
alcohol,
drinking,
drugs, everything.
All right, sorry for that, but I do drink.
Eh?
I do drink.
Matthew is deluding himself. Alcohol is as much a drug as the one he's trying to kick. Replacing one addiction with another isn't helping him at all. I'm a bit worried about, and I don't know if you agree with me. To me, clean is clean. You know, and I said this to him earlier on. You know, there's no half clean or, you know, a little bit clean. You know, he's clean from crystal meths, but he's still drinking. Are you worried that maybe the drinking could take him back?
Yes.
Have you said anything to him?
I've spoken to him about it. We sat down and spoke with my husband also, and as a family. And we explained to him by leaving the drugs and going to the alcohol is making the problem reappear again.
How bad is the drinking? Because for me, he made it seem as if it was a...
I noticed that he wasn't focused, but it wasn't like a drug, you know, a drug thing you can spot from far because the eyes are away. Now the alcohol is more relaxed, but you can see it's not all with you when you're talking. Yeah.
And you've seen this how many times?
I've seen it about 4 times.
Is it? In the space of?
It's a space of 2 weeks.
Is it? Oh, that's quite often. I also went through a period where I was clean from cocaine for 6 months, but I carried on drinking. But the alcohol opened the door for me to go back to cocaine. Don't you think it's going to do the same for you?
No, because you know what, tell me, when you were doing cocaine, were you drinking?
Yeah.
Maybe a short.
Yeah.
You see, I wasn't doing
not a lot.
No, but you see, I wasn't doing that because you can't put your mind at 2 things. Understand what I'm saying?
In your experience, I mean, somebody who doesn't follow through with the program, do they end up relapsing and going back into the same system?
Generally, yes. That's the first and most typical sign of relapse.
People not coming to the program.
Yes, consistency. Remember, people that are using drugs, they live this reckless life where there's no structure. You know, they act out of turn. If they want to go to this place, they go to this place. There is no general structure in their life that supports that recovery.
In spite of Matthew not attending Sanka sessions, he's trying to put his own recovery structures in place. One of them is helping others kick their addiction, including his own brother. So how does it feel being back in the hometown here, bro?
It's very different now.
Huh?
Compared to where I am now, it's very different.
It's different, huh?
See the windows, even saw the windows.
This is where you used to stay, huh?
Yeah.
There's no windows there.
There's no windows.
This place is properly
Damaged
messed up, eh?
because of drugs.
I see the tiles.
Tiles, taps.
Did you sell them? Ash. What's happening here? Who's this? Is this your lighty?
Yeah, it's my brother.
Nick. What's that? Hola. Ash. There's no windows here. What's happening, Nick?
I've been smoking here for a long time period. It's my brother. He came on the drugs and he showed me how to use the drugs. And I'm still on the drugs.
My sorry. You don't need help.
I don't want to smoke for the rest of my life drugs. I want to leave it. I'm sick about it.
Very sorry for it, but I'll help you. If you need help, I'll help you.
Unfortunately, he isn't ready to accept help yet. But Matthew's hoping it will happen soon. In the meantime, he and his friend Sean took us to see some others lost in the world of drugs.
These guys are smoking Hendrix. In Afrikaans, it's called a pill. Which basically the reason why they smoke it is because when they're high, they feel like coming down. So this is the shit that messes up everything in your body. Because after this, you don't even have energy.
It takes your mind off your problem, and that few minutes, basically you go into la la land.
But do you think it's worth it?
And in the old end, when you wake up, it doesn't go away your problems, it just makes it worse.
When you wake up, you're hungry.
But now, you see now, we are smoking tech also, you see. But now tech, you don't sleep, you don't eat.
Crystal meth, no?
Yes, right. But now, Mendrex, you sleep, you eat.
Yeah, but guys,
Mendrex.
did you think about it before buying Mendrex? What does your child at home? Has he something to eat?
Matthew's advice is solid, and he's reaching out across Westbury to all the people he knows who are struggling with addiction. But helping others on its own won't keep him from relapsing, and he knows it. He's not attending Sanka meetings, he's still drinking, he's not clean. It's time for him to check himself into rehab.
I feel wonderful. Because you know what, if you feel like helping yourself, join the rehab. Because the drugs is taking out people. People are killing people. It's very hard so, because you know what, on this day I lost my mother, 2011. It's going to be for 6 years. She's gone out of my life. It's very hard so for me. That's why I decided I'm going to the rehab, because I was an outpatient at Sanka and the craving was still there, but I think for me it's better if I'm here.
Today we are admitting you into our rehab center. Then we are going to follow the admission procedure. And admission procedure, we start with us as social workers. Then from there we hand you over to our medical department.
Honestly speaking, for me today, it's not the right day for me to be at the rehab, because this is the day that I was on a lalavuga, smoking drugs when my mother passed away. So I just want to take today just for myself. I would have stayed, but if it wasn't for a Good Friday, I never had since my mother passed away, I never had a Good Friday with family. And the other thing is, right now, at the moment, I don't feel like being around people because I'm gonna lose it.
Sadly, the reason Matthew has given for not going into rehab is not an excuse, it's an escape. But he's not unique. Many users avoid rehab for fear of the unknown. But there's one addict who wants to change his life. He wants to do it for his family. During filming, we found Lee. He asked us for help, and we helped him check into rehab. Listen to what he had to say to his sons.
Hi, guys. That means everything I'm saying now, but things will get better. And I know I'm not meant to love that life I'm loving. And I'm sorry where I let you down. I would like to fix it all up. And it's not easy for me to speak now on this camera. But I want to tell you guys that I really do love you with my whole heart. Promise you, I'm going to make a difference. Can you just take a break from us? Just for a second. And the main thing is I want to say to you is don't lose hope in me, because I know sooner or later things will budge, and